what is it? A conversation about this movie if I'm not going to mention DJ Beetroot himself.
4 boys, 3 ugly in Caucasian. One is sexy, well-hung Asian. None of them really have high-kin persuasion. Dumbstruck in a wrong liaison.
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaze.
And I'm James.
And this week, we're talking Get Duked.
You won't get away with this.
We always do.
Let's finish this. When I say get, holy shit, you say duked. Get.
Nothing ever happens in the Highlands.
Oh yeah!
Get Duked follows 4 city boys on a wilderness trek as they try to escape a mysterious huntsman. This was a wild watch. We had plans to watch another movie, which I'm very stoked for, but Blaze, just out of nowhere, you just kind of threw this onto me. Let's watch Get Duked on Amazon Prime, but this came out of nowhere. It's not by any means the best movie ever, but I was cracking up the whole time though, and it brought me back to some like older comedies that I missed essentially. This is what I just wanted to see and crack. Like I really felt like cracking up, and this like really got the job done. But what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I honestly really loved it. I felt like it did have a lot of similarities to other, English auteurs, and we can get into that a little bit later. But, as it is, I felt like it was just a fun romp. It was just like a pretty wild ride, and it did have like a lot of things that I guess maybe are kind of in current politics that cracked me the fuck up. Like I was literally just laughing at a lot of the plot devices that they used. And a lot of the visual effects I thought were really cool. I thought it was just like awesome, fun, wild ride. Yeah.
I guess we could get into some of the movies that reminded me of, I guess, like first, like a lot of people might be like, oh, obviously, but Attack the Block and Sightseers are my first impressions while watching this movie. Not that they're like feel like it's ripped off or anything whatsoever, but just like it kind of felt like a blend of those two, and it just really worked. And I think one of the things that you need most in your movie is you need chemistry between your actors. Well, first and foremost, for me, it's always a script and story, and that was great on its end. But like what makes it really work together is just these characters coming together for the first time. 3 of them are already friends, but meeting this new guy and then this weird leader guy who drops him off, just like he was cracking me up and being the butt of the joke like throughout the movie, kind of just was cracking me up, and just seeing the weird shenanigans they get themselves into and just blaming weird things and stuff, and just also the cops in this movie. I think the cops are probably my favorite part of this movie. Like if the cops from What We Do in the Shadows got a spin-off TV show, I think I'd rather see these cops, honestly.
These cops are just so incompetent, but so funny. Like always felt like they were freaking Sherlock Holmes or something, and like they were on the hottest trail. And I mean, technically they were, but even when they get to the end of that trail, they're even like kind of so dumb. Like they don't even realize till maybe like 10 minutes later, like really what they have discovered. So I thought they're just so oblivious and they almost remind me of like Scooby-Doo at times, like how ridiculous they are, just like not really good at their job, honestly. But I'd take a cop who's not good at their job in an oblivious way over not good at their job in a bad way.
Right, yeah, exactly. And it's actually funny that you brought up Scooby-Doo, because something that we haven't brought up is there's actually some horror elements in this. Like there's a lot of gore, surprisingly, for this movie. Like if you watch the trailer, you would just expect like a PG-13 movie that might like some kids can watch, but like no, it's a hard R. You're getting a lot of gore, you're getting a lot of F words thrown in there and everything, and just I was surprised how gory it got. And then also I wasn't expecting Eddie Izzard to be in this. He's a really funny comedian that I haven't seen too much of, but just whenever I've actually seen clips of him in my Greek class in college for some reason. It was a Greek mythology class, and for whatever reason there was a day where they showed his stand-up special, and just seeing him in this movie was really funny. And he's like quite creepy at times and does have those sinister moments, I'd say.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think I remember seeing him as have a producer credit in this. So I don't know if he hooked up with the director, kind of championed his work, but it seemed really cool that he was lending, his craft to this film. And I think he's pretty much the only, I wouldn't say like star is quite, I know he's big in England. He's maybe not as big here in the US, but he's pretty much the only like recognizable face really in the film. But I felt like that's what gave a lot of this film is really its authenticity, was the fact that there aren't really many recognizable actors, and everyone really does have some cool performances, especially from your 4 kids. And I mean, what is it like a conversation about this movie if I'm not going to mention DJ Beetroot himself?
Can I have your real name?
Just that third one down there, William de Beauvoir.
William de Beauvoir. What did you tell
Told
him?
him to go fuck himself.
Oh, nice.
I thought he was probably like the funniest and most iconic, I guess, for this movie, especially when he gives his like performance while eating these magic, and they're not magic mushrooms, but I guess they're magic mushroom
rabbit
turds, essentially. Rabbit pellets.
Yeah.
Rabbit pellets might be a more appropriate word, but
When I say get, you say juked. Get. When I say get, you say juked. Get.
yeah, just that whole scene, the visual effects in there, I thought was really cool. It was a lot of fun seeing him like just kind of rock out and really, gain that confidence to perform in front of all these random villagers that don't really know what they're getting into. I thought that was fun. It really brought me back to, I felt like when it comes to this movie, obvious comparisons can be drawn between Edgar Wright's work and this film. And then, I think about a couple other films. You mentioned Attack the Block. I do think of one film that I think both of us really did not enjoy. On one of our older shows, we did a film about a fantastic fear of everything, Simon Pegg's kind of London romp that didn't really, I felt like both of us disliked that film and just thought it was like stupid and didn't really fit. I felt like this was, if that film worked, like this is how I felt about Get Duked. I'm like, this film just works better than if you like, okay, Simon Pegg's not even this movie and it still feels very much like something Edgar Wright would create. It has a lot of Edgar Wright isms in it.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I kind of thought of Edgar Wright while watching it. I guess I just forgot to bring him up, but like, I'm glad that you reminded me. But yeah, definitely, I could see some of the similarities, and I definitely do remember that movie. And I mean, maybe if I picked it up again and like tried to give it a second try, maybe I'd like it. But I just remember tonally that movie just didn't work for me. It felt like they were trying too hard, but that's a whole different story with that kind of movie. But with this, though, it just worked out. Like, you kind of get the stakes of it pretty quickly. Like, I was surprised there was a moment where I just like paused to make a drink and stuff, and I was only 20 minutes in. I was like, oh wow, there's a lot that's happened, and it didn't feel long or anything. I was like actually excited to see what the hook was, because I didn't realize it was going to get into like those horror aspects of these hunts people following them. But I kind of saw like the cool foreshadowing like while I was watching it. I always try to go in blind, and I'm actually stoked whenever you recommend a movie for fresh releases and I don't know anything about it. I'm like, all right, cool, movie I get to go in blind to. And going into this, when I saw that they were getting dropped off, I saw all the missing kids signs behind them. And I was like, oh, interesting. I wonder if that's going to play a part for them, or if that's going to be the plot of the movie. And just seeing it come together. And then also, like, I don't want to spoil it, but the ending is just so funny, seeing a lot of jokes kind of come full circle, essentially. There's like a lot of things that are brought up throughout the movie where it doesn't feel obvious, like, oh, that's going to come back for a payoff. Like, no, you just think it's a joke in the moment, but just seeing it come full circle and kind of end on those multiple cliffhangers, but multiple punchlines. It just really was a great way to end it, I thought.
Yeah, and not getting too much into the true ending in the movie, but it's definitely one of those endings that I enjoy, that have like, it feels like a very 80s style ending. I didn't feel like the rest of the movie was that 80s, but it felt like just an 80s style ending where the ending sets you up perfectly for a sequel. Hey, we're probably not going to actually film the sequel or get that, but it's just a cool ending where you're like, oh, there's an alternate universe where there's a sequel that picks up right where this film left off or something. I mean, even like Halloween, essentially, doesn't seem like there was going to be a sequel, but the sequel picks up right at the end of that first film. So I actually have to say I really did enjoy this movie. It's a nice surprise. I don't think as many people are going to watch it as maybe should, but I mean, if you're starved for movies out there, I think definitely go check out Get Duked on Amazon Prime. It's worth the watch at least. I think you can find at least one thing you like in the movie, because I liked way more than just one thing. Yeah,
definitely. I definitely see your thoughts on that and definitely agree. I think comedies this year have been misses for the most part on this show. Like, just coming to mind like right away, like American Pickle, that was one I was looking forward to and just didn't work for both of us, I remember. But like a lot of movies have been working for us lately, but I remember most of those have been more on like the horror side or more drama aspects of cinema, but it's great to finally get a comedy that like I actually genuinely enjoyed. Is it the best by any means? Is it going in my top 10? No, but this is a movie I'm going to recommend and stuff. Like Amazon Prime, like I'm glad to see a lot of people starting to have accounts for that more often, and like definitely going to recommend this. So go check it out, watchers. Yeah. And after doing that, like, please come back here. The best way to help us out is by watching the movie itself. You can watch it through our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below.
And if you haven't already, guys, smash that like button and click the subscribe button and the subscription bell to join the notification squad.
Thank you so much. Be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of Fresh Releases.